There you go. Hello, everybody. I'm David Simmonds. I'm not playing the piano. There I was, center court, heart pounding, crowd cheering, my mom holding a sign, "We love you, baby." It was the OSSA basketball finals. I was gonna drop more threes than Steph Curry. I was gonna and one more than LeBron James. I was gonna tongue wag better than Michael Jordan. And then I remembered, I wasn't ever gonna play a minute in that game. The truth is, I wasn't the star of the high school basketball team. I could barely dribble a basketball. I was the mascot. Freddie, the very proud Falcon. Don't get me wrong. The mascot was cool, but it symbolized how bad I was as a basketball player. Trapped in that old sweaty suit, I tried to wipe away the reality that despite my best efforts, despite the early morning runs and the late afternoon skills drills with my two tremendously athletic older brothers, I would never make the basketball team, or any team that required hand-eye coordination or a shred of physical ability. The good news, our team ended up winning the championship. They got me a medal. The bad news, I went home that night very confused, lonely. I was a nice kid, but I really struggled to fit in. Playing sports just wasn't my thing. I needed answers. So where did I go? Grandma's. She really wanted to see the OFSA gold medal. That summer, I spent almost every weekend with my grandmother and the ladies of the Church of God of Jesus Christ, armed with their soft mock shoes and a hat collection that'd make West Hollywood jealous. The church ladies introduced me to an unimaginable kindness. They called it the social gospel. I came to know it and to live it as social justice. Opportunities, rights, responsibilities, and resources. Grandma used to say there's no justification for inequality. Sunday mornings, I would stand in front of the congregation and I would speak to the need for change, for common purpose, and for compassion. Who knew it? Freddie the Falcon was a community organizer. He was a fundraiser. He wasn't afraid to speak to the crowd. Through community organizing and church work, I'd found my strength. My strength was a result of my struggle. The truth is, you've got to go through a process in which you are the weakest to discover where you're the strongest. The truth is that my struggle gave me confidence and courage to do things I never thought I could do in life, like go to a university where nobody in my community was going at the time. It was the fall of 2003. Me and 6,000 other students rushed the Western campus. My parents were so worried about me. They worried, again, not because of Western and the girls and the alcohol and the parties. They worried because I would yet again be one of the few black faces in the crowd. And they knew that I'd have to face all those things that came with being the other. When I announced my intention to go to Western and be part of Canada's best student experience, my dad looked at me and said, "David, where are you going to get your hair cut every week? There are no black barbershops in London." It sounds silly, but what he was really saying was, where are you going to find that strength that I saw sustain you for the last 18 years? It didn't take long for me, though. I lost my hair, and I found my place at Western. I jumped into campus enthusiasm. It was a wild ride. University was the place where nerds became rock stars, and I was Mick Jagger. I was at every fundraiser, every semi-formal, every pub night. I maintained my grades. I joined the Senate. I made lifelong friends. My confidence helped me tackle that old weakness and fear. I signed up for Western intramural sports. I was going to dribble a fucking basketball. The truth is, I had no idea that I'd be confronted with a 6'2", 200-pound truth I never wanted to face. There I was, normal Saturday, in the locker room, dudes coming in and out, head bob, how's your deadlift, go London Nights. Then there was this one guy who stared a little bit longer, He smiled a little less innocently. He talked to me, and he made it very clear that he wanted to go get a coffee at Starbucks to study. As I stood next to my locker, I knew that this important relationship was going to force me to admit something. By the time I got to third year, everyone thought I had it all together. But I knew that I had a secret that I was not prepared to admit to myself. Because at that time, the secret contradicted my own aspirations. It contradicted what I thought to be my strength. One day, keeping my secret collided with my new strength as a campus leader. The year I was on the student union executive, our campus pride group ran afoul of a few regularly understood accounting practices. So the student union had to appoint a new board and a new leader. We sat around the table and we all talked about what was important, and social justice was at the top of the list. So I raised my hand to play that role. What I didn't anticipate was the level of student and campus interest in the issue. Activists organized, campus media were writing about it. The 8-channel news, subsidiary of CTV, thanks Kevin, showed up on campus, zooming in the camera. One day, in front of a group of hundreds of students, I was taking questions about our plan for change. Despite strong endorsement from the council and the administration, an activist yelled out, "Queer issues should be presented by queers." I'd never called myself a queer before. I'd never used the word gay. But I had a choice in that moment. I could ignore the heckling and proceed with my key messages, or I could raise my hand and be counted. I could open my mouth, and I could share my secret with the world, that I was gay. And that's what I did. My coming out publicly was liberating, but let's not forget that liberation is a process. It takes continuous action, continuous words, and constant deeds. The tragic attack in Orlando this past weekend carries a number of urgently important reminders. It's a reminder to me that my work, our work, the fight for social justice, is just as relevant now, here, in London, at Western, as it ever was. For the boardrooms, for the washrooms, and for the locker rooms that fill our communities. The truth is that the fight begins with ourselves. The truth is that no one is their whole self until they can fully accept themselves and have the permission to live as themselves. What surprised me about my personal liberation is that the freedom came from personal acceptance. My liberation helped redefine my self-image, calibrate my success, and ultimately help me find a path to pursuing my passions by listening to that voice inside that pushes us in the right direction. Which brings me to my parents. I am the son of two very proud West Indian parents. If you wonder what that is, I can do the accent. Like most immigrant parents, they expected that their kids would work a little bit harder, stay a little bit later, and do their best to make something of themselves. My mom understood that her son was terrible at organized sports. She was okay with me not being able to play music, but she would insist that I do okay academically. So that meant one thing: I would be a lawyer. I completed my BA and MA. There's my baby. He's going to be a lawyer. I worked here at Western on a transformative higher education project. I'm so proud of my baby. He's going to be a lawyer. I advised Canada's education ministers on access policy in higher education. Just you wait. David's going to be a lawyer. I became a consultant and secured a spot weekly on a national news program. My baby's friends with Wendy Mesley, and he's going to be a lawyer. By this point, I had been accepted to law school 3 times. Despite her expectations, I found that I was happiest working in communications and public affairs. So when the opportunity came for me to take on a significant amount of responsibility at a young age, I took it. My role at McKesson allows me to sit at tables and be part of conversations I would have never dreamed of having 5 years ago. So much to my parents' chagrin, I once more avoided going to law school, which by now they realized was a trend. But for me, the work I was doing alongside the volunteer boards and opportunities that have come my way allow me to have an impact. They allow me to be proud. And though I may not be a lawyer, I know my mom sees my success and is proud too. What does it mean to be a success? Doing work that matters. Giving back to causes I care about, like Western University. and its ability to stand as an example of the transformative power that higher education has, the push for greater access to higher education for Canada's most marginalized, and the long march towards a true living liberation for LGBT people across the world. These are the things that keep me going. The truth is that when you pursue your passion, good things happen. When you're honest about what drives you, you find your destiny. That's been my story so far. And while I don't know what my ultimate destiny will be, the journey is what makes life so exciting. Thanks.